Can AI disrupt our industry? What can be impact of AI on our company, our system and process, our product, our services?
Talent attraction, assessment, onboarding, employee engagement, payroll.
They own product, they are building platforms, they have AI governance, and they do IP creation also.
The most surprising stuff that we would have done essentially around the future of work by 2030.
GCC used to contribute 15% of total IT demand in the country in 2024. Now they contribute almost 27% of total IT demand in the country right now.
Is it over usage of technology? Is it the right optimal usage? Hello, everybody. Welcome back once again to Hyreo Rise series of podcasts where we talk about human capital, impact of technology, and what's changing in the human capital space. And today I've got a very, very interesting and impactful topic to discuss with you all. And I've got a great guest as well. But before we delve into that, I want to talk a little bit about how technology has impacted software in the past. Now, every time you've got major changes or shifts in technology, it has changed the way software has been built, consumed, and serviced globally. But maybe for the first time globally, with the way AI is transforming software, it's not just about software per se, but it's about the entire labor workforce behind how software is being built or consumed. Traditionally, businesses scaled with workforce scaling in the background. But maybe for the first time, AI is challenging that norm. Do we need to scale with scaling up of workforce or scaling up of really complex, large delivery systems? Or we are looking at AI simplifying it and making those interactions between humans and technology more effective and more seamless the way we go forward. So, in this podcast, we're talking about how the boardroom shift is happening in terms of viewing this, how some of our technology organizations, especially the global innovation centers and capability centers that we see in India, how are they shaping up? We'll also talk about how human capital as a function is getting involved. And I've got a very, very interesting person to join us on the podcast today. A warm welcome to you, Kapil. Kapil, who's the CEO of Quest IT Solutions, has been a veteran in the space, spent over a couple of decades in leadership globally in this space, been a trusted advisor to very large corporates in India and elsewhere. A very, very warm welcome to you, Kapil. Thanks for joining in today.
Thanks, Arun. It's absolutely a pleasure of mine.
All right, Kapil, I think we'll jump straight into the questions and we'll have some fun with that. So the first question is, Kapil, how are boardrooms today discussing talent as opposed to, let's say, 3 years ago?
So great question, Arun. 3 years ago, it was almost time when ChatGPT was launched, and I still remember the boardroom discussion was more around can AI disrupt our industry? What can be impact of AI on our company, our system and process, our product, our services? Since then, lot has changed. Today, boardroom discussion is around AI-led transformation. CEO KPIs more about Gen AI led delivery and maturity milestone. And on center of this, what has happened? Talent strategy has actually become a core of business transformation, and it is more about talent density, talent internal mobility, and talent reskilling and learning curves, which has become core of every organization now. And I think CEO take talent strategy as seriously as he take any other business goal or objective.
That's a massive shift. And I also want to ask you the other side of it, Kapil. What are enterprise leaders most confused about today? Are we in this process of AI transition, right? There's talking about technology capability, we're talking about organizational readiness, we're talking about workforce capability. What are leaders most confused about in this journey today?
One thing is very clear. Everyone has a AI ambition. So that's the
Absolutely.
clarity part.
Absolutely.
We want to become a AI-led organization. So that's clarity is there. But confusion is more about AI readiness, your governance and operational model.
Yeah.
So let's say, for example, you have old legacy enterprise software. You are not data ready. Your data is lying in the silos, unstructured format. If AI take any decision, who own it? There is no explainability. So the confusion is more about risk, governance, and readiness.
And that's definitely going to impact CEO discussions. And also the other challenge
Hmm.
that we see when we read a lot more about this, and I'm hearing from other leaders as well, is AI essentially a job creator or really a job disruptor? How do you see this in the market today? How does this pan out in the industries that you're doing business with?
So absolutely, you are right, Arun. I mean, we have seen a lot of repetitive task and rule-based, work which is getting automated. But what is happening that AI also created a lot of high-end jobs like your AI, data, cloud, cyber security. We have seen the huge demand surge in this. So there are two clear pattern we see is that entry-level job is getting automated. Okay, where the demand has actually came down from 28% to 15%. Mid-level job has gone up because people and organizations are looking for capability, depth, and readily available people for deployment. Okay, so your deployment readiness is becoming a more key. Then we have also seen that your traditional pyramid model, which was heavy at the bottom, is getting into diamond shape. Okay, so growth is no more, linear.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a
Mhm.
that's a very interesting observation from pyramid to diamond, and
Mm.
I think I would tie this back to what you said in the beginning also that technology becoming a massive priority for CEOs today in terms of the strategy for the organization, and I think you kind of touched upon that in a very nice way, saying that the workforce no more is pyramid. It's no more structured in a pyramid fashion. You want people who are ready to take up tasks, more I would say more impactful to the business, which needs to be there, which becomes the middle of that pyramid. And then you will see less number of entry level early stage jobs probably getting disrupted, some of the recurring repetitive tasks getting sort of replaced by AI. I kind of get it, and I kind
Uh,
of you kind of
but
summarize
Arun,
that well.
I want to tell more one more thing. It is not about job elimination. I think most of the industry and matured, especially in matured GCC and matured organization, we have seen the productivity gain is already there. There is almost 20 to 30% productivity gain, which came through the AI automation at low end. That is the reason probably you would have seen some pause or some slowdown in entry level jobs. But I think it is momentary as
Wow.
we spend more on transformation and more work gets generated. I think the job creation will be much more
That,
than
that's
it
that's
destroyed.
lovely. That's a great point, Kapil, and I think that'll be good for the India ecosystem as well, which we will talk in a bit. But your points on the the boardroom and the CEO expectations on how talent is playing out, lovely, Kapil.
Thanks a lot.
From there, Kapil, I'm moving into a different area where we've had a lot of discussions very recently. It is on the global capability centers or innovation centers that global organizations have built in India. Now, it is not new in India; it has been there
Mm.
for a while. But you see this massive surge in GCCs and GICs in India. What has fundamentally shifted in global capability centers, let's say in the last few years? And what do you see will be the change on an ongoing basis from here on, Kapil?
So GCC originally came to India for cost arbitrage, and the key to success was your process execution, quality of work, what you do. From there, if you look at the GCC today, they own product, they are building platforms, they have AI governance, and they do IP creation also. Okay, that's the major shift. I think almost every GCC which came post 2021 is either holding or taking the ownership of product or having a portfolio to manage. Their KPI has changed. It has moved from process execution to more about deployment speed, go to market strategy, business outcomes, and they own the P&L. That's the big change we have seen in the GCC space. GCC are actually a now integral part of any global enterprise organization. Okay, there are 6,500 GCC leader who actually play a global role. It means the decision making is depulugged, from geography. That's the hint that GCC are not just execution hub; they are actually innovation hub now. Another statistics, which we have recently seen, that 60% of the GCC hiring now actually happen in the emerging technology space. Your AI, data, cloud, cyber security, these skill actually contribute almost 60% of total GCC hiring. It means the GCC is actually moved away from traditional legacy, software support to, product development, platform orchestration. Okay, they are creating IP. So that's the shift which we have seen in recent past.
Right.
Mhm.
It's a very positive sign that we are seeing GCCs maturing and becoming drivers of real product and drivers of real innovation and IP for businesses that are, global in nature. Now that gives me sort of a segue into a question that I had. So what kind of skills, obviously the traditional skills are getting commoditized, but what are those skills that GCCs would need, or what are the talent competencies that people would be requiring to have in such GCCs to go in this direction forward, Kapil?
Yeah, in the GCC space, I think talent density required more than anything else, and that is what we are seeing right now. You're talking about the skill set which are in the demand in the GCC space. So let me tell you, if some statistics, Gen AI demand has grown by 178% in last 1 year. Your data engineering and data science demand has gone up by almost 60%. Cyber security and cloud demand has actually gone by 75%. Okay, in last 1 year itself. There were 28,000 role with respect to agentic AI in GCC space alone. So
Wow.
that's the shift we have seen. GCC used to contribute 15% of total IT demand in the country in 2024. Now they contribute almost 27% of total IT demand in the country right now. This is one of the fastest phase we have ever seen in this space, and the transformation. I mean, it's just amazing. The 40, almost 50%, GCC which are coming to India are now from day one, they have AI as a organizational layer. It's a system itself.
Right. That's a big story, right? I mean, even the growth numbers in terms of headcount, looking for emerging premium skills, if I may,
Mm.
in AI, in data science, in core engineering work. And if this pace continues, I'm pretty sure that we're talking about a massive disruption in terms of talent supply, in terms of how talent is identified, how talent is groomed, how they are onboarded, and how they are
Mm.
essentially retained in organizations, right? And this is the third area that I wanted to kind of
Yeah,
talk to you
absolutely.
about, Kapil, because I don't think the old models will work in the new
Absolutely
age.
correct. Absolutely
The
correct.
old tools may not be relevant
Mm.
today. The old mechanisms of attracting and retaining talent may or may not work in the new ecosystem. So let's talk a little bit about how is this redesign really happening in terms of how talent is discovered, attracted, brought into the organization. If that's going to change, how is that going to look like,
So it
right?
is already changing around. The talent strategy or talent acquisition is actually moved towards the talent orchestration. When I say
Mm.
talent orchestration, I mean what is more important today is can you retain the talent? Can you develop the talent? Can you redeploy, reskill the talent? That is more important because we have seen there is a huge demand supply gap in emerging skills.
Right.
Okay, you can't achieve the business objective by just buying the talent. It's not available at all. Okay, so the strategy will be and the success of organization is depend on internal talent mobility and the talent velocity itself, that how fast you hire and how fast internally you mobilize them. So and the technology life cycle itself is a shorter now.
Right.
Okay,
Absolutely.
so your learning ability and reskilling ability is becoming a key to success for your organization.
Right.
Though that the shift we have seen in the organization, almost 20% job roles, at least in the GCC space, now get filled through reskilling and redeployment. So
Right.
it's not about volume. It's not about capacity now. It is more about capability depth, how much knowledge depth you have. Okay.
Right, right. And I know you, Kapil, for many years now, and I know that you're a strong proponent as a leader of using technology and having new emerging technologies go into the whole function of human capital management as well. So, in your view, which parts of employee life cycle, talent attraction, assessment, onboarding, employee engagement, payroll, where do you think you're going to see a lot of disruption in the coming years?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, there is no area where I don't see the automation is happening, or AI is not playing the role. Almost every and HR function is probably most adaptive function, I would say. So from your sourcing to screening, assessment, even candidate engagement, employee engagement is driven by AI now. You have a lot of insight. So what is happening uh, here is that one is because of your hiring cycle has increased now it is almost 75 to 90 days if you want to hire somebody on emerging technology, and this is very competitive market. The speed matters more, and that is where AI is playing a big role in assessment part of it. The coding test, the assessment is actually front ended. It means your the engagement with the candidate actually starting with the assessment, okay, which is actually automated. We use, like, for example, in our organization we use a technology where a unique coding test just for 10 or 15 minutes, short duration, is generated for every unique JD. Okay. uh, we have agentic AI which take care of the candidate engagement, so that improve the experience of the candidate, and uh, there is a huge impact on the joining ratio also. So I think uh, I already see a assessment and the candidate engagement has a lot of automation. Okay, but in the future, for your internal mobility to for your reskilling, for better employee experience, I think the AI will have more use. Like I said, the organizational capability to transform the talent is more important nowadays than talent acquisition itself.
Got it, got it. I understand, Kapil, and uh, essentially you feel early parts of talent acquisition, let's say assessments are critical, and how do you engage with talent is critical. uh, and I'm going to play devil's advocate here, Kapil. Although I come from a technology background, and as a company we focus a lot on enabling talent acquisition processes through AI, but we very commonly hear that the usage of algorithms and AI led shortlisting of candidates can give you a very robust process, very operationally efficient process. But there's a lot of worry about missing out on non-conventional talent, missing out on some great talent, because AI looks at shortlisting and assessing and evaluating candidates in a certain way, and there is this question of bias, question of algorithmic, algorithm induced bias and whatnot, right? As somebody who has seen this industry evolve, no tech, purely on the judgment of a recruiter, to a lot of technology being used on shortlisting and identifying great talent, how do you see this? What's your comments on, is it over usage of technology? Is it the right optimal usage?
No, Arun, I completely agree with you. But, there is a possibility of, missing out on certain unconventional, talent. Possibility is there. Okay. Um, let's say, for example, we have seen, there are people who use AI to, draft their resume. Okay. And and the way AI work is, they work on certain algorithm, certain pattern matching, and uh, so what happened? There is a possibility that you will miss out certain talent on this. I completely agree with this, There is also possibility that, based on the past data or hiring trend, there might be certain biases which will also inbuilt in your system. Okay, that is where human in loop comes in the picture. I have not seen complete automation. The hiring has enough intervention of human right now. Okay, we are using technology only for basic screening or assessment or capability, to check the expertise level, depth of the knowledge. Okay, but human in the loop will be the key. But another thing is that you have to see in that way. Losing a one unconventional candidate is still fine than doing a wrong hiring.
Right.
The
Right.
focus is more on quality hiring. Okay, rather than you should be worried about something you're missing out.
Right, right. I get what you're saying.
Hmm.
You might, so essentially,
Hmm.
you're suggesting there could be some miss outs, there could be obviously some minor glitches that could happen, but with human in the loop, we are still in control, we're still
that is
in.
that is your governance, AI governance, and the model comes in the picture. So you need to have explainability in the system itself. So today, our system, let's say for example, system doesn't say it is this candidate is reject or select, or let's say for example in banking sector, this loan application is select or reject. It just give you, it explain why you should hire this candidate or why you should give loan to this person, what are
Right,
the criteria he fulfill. Okay, and it also explain that what is the risk associated with, what is missing skill, or what is the past track record. Okay, so explainability also become a key in your decision making. So let's human take a decision and AI just explain it to you.
absolutely. I think you said it. This is where the AI human orchestration really has to happen. If AI can give you solid insights about a talent, it's able to give you comparative data. It's able to tell you with respect to the job that you're hiring. Here are the three things that we need to be cognizant of. And if this enables the recruiter to make better decision, I think that's where a lot of productivity and a whole lot of improved decision making for quicker turnarounds could happen. Absolutely valid. Now, one last thing that I wanted to kind of touch upon on the specific topic, Kapil. Now, we are seeing that AI is enabling productivity, and you just now mentioned about 20 to 30% improvement in productivity of existing employees, right? Now, do you see that this is going to kind of flatten the net hiring overall as we speak, because you have better systems around you. You have talent who is working hand in hand with AI. The overall productivity has gone up. So do you see that the net hiring, the net pyramid shift that we were talking about is going to kind of keep continuing, or is it something that you feel will open up for new opportunities?
So Arun, I will talk more about IT, okay, but if overall, I understand the concern. The job creation is a big concern right now. Unemployability is another big concern which most of the country are facing currently. It is not about AI. It is more about, in this is my view. It is more about microeconomic and geopolitical issue.
Right.
Okay, what AI has done, AI has actually created a valuable job. Okay, and
Mm.
it has actually created a more job than it has taken. Okay, uh, for example, I tell you about our 2025 reports which we have published few months back. Technology job in India has increased by almost 16% last year. The
Mm.
total number of demand created last year was almost 18 million. It also include the refilling also, but there were 18 million jobs got created last year alone, and which was almost 16% higher than the previous years. And we have also seen the job, what has happened, like I told you earlier, that the we have seen the mid-level job has grown faster than the entry-level jobs. Entry-level job has registered some decline. Okay, so what is happening that, let's say, your traditional, for example, you had a BI and visualization demands which has come down by 16%. The coder demands has come down by almost 20% last year. Okay. So the work, which is, very routine, decision making kind of, low end job, which are, we have seen the slowness, but at the same time, the demand for emerging skill has increased by almost 40 to 70%. Okay.
Right.
So
Right.
that's the shift AI is causing. It is redesigning the workflow. It is also redesigning the entire, um, what uh, the workforce structure itself.
Absolutely. Kapil. I get it. I mean,
Mm.
that's something that I think we all need to be cognizant of. And another area that I want to touch upon, Kapil, is I'm trying to take a slightly broader view on this. Right? You mentioned AI is creating more valuable jobs, high impact jobs than and it's replacing some of the recurring and the possibly the more, I would say the entry level of many segments. Now we spoke about GCCs, we spoke about AI, and I'm trying to look at it in a larger context of what's the India advantage here. Now, because the way talent is identified, deployed, that is transforming. Global corporations are also going to look at it in terms of where do they want to build these centers of innovation. I'm looking at it from a larger India context, right? So, Kapil, India built our story on scale. We had huge capability in terms of engineering talent, STEM graduates, etc. Right? Now, in an AI economy which is more driven by intelligence and automation and AI plus human orchestration, right? Maybe scale is not what matters there, right? How do you see the India growth story in that? How do you place India in this larger scheme of AI world?
So you need to look at what India offers first, what we have currently. We have already, proved ourselves in IT services. Okay, we have roughly 3.5 to 4 million people working in IT services industry. Uh, and these people knows the enterprise functions very well. They know the how the work is done. Okay, there. Second thing, we have the GCC ecosystem. The GCC knows global enterprise very well, the priority. Okay. The third one is we have a startup ecosystem.
Hmm.
Okay. Now, if you see all this, and then there is a education system like you said, India produce 1.5 million engineers every
Right.
year. Okay. Now all this, what as an infrastructure we offer, as a talent we offer, okay, as a capability what we offer. Over and above now, you would have seen the impact created by India AI mission, India Semicon mission. Okay, you have already seen the story about public, digital public infrastructure. Okay, I think all this combination together, and recently, like I am also on the board of GCC Advisory Board of Andhra government, and I know that almost every state is uh, trying to attract the investment. Okay, uh, you have seen YJ or Navi Mumbai coming as a data center hub. Okay, so what is India's strength right now is that it's a talent, it's infrastructure, it's policy. Okay, and all together, if you combine together, I think it is a unique combination which gives you skill at a scale. Okay.
Right.
So for us, immediate opportunity is definitely in the AI space, is that upper layer where we know we can have applied AI, application layer, we can work a lot. And a lot of work is happening on agentic AI space. Okay. But in the long run, I'm very confident that India will be able to build fundamental layer also. We will have a sovereign AI, LLM, local language, a model. Okay, we will have our own data center capability. Okay, and how much we are spending and in semicon, and how much research is happening there. So by 2030, I think India should have a significant presence in semicon space also. Okay, so that's what is there on the table for all of us. A great opportunity.
Right. That's a very significant point, Kapil, because I think even in our last Davos
Mm.
summit, there was a lot of discussion on where India's place is going to be in the entire ecosystem. But I agree with you. Maybe our immediate short-term advantage would still be on ensuring that global businesses does this AI transformation and does it effectively, and we are able to do it at scale through GCCs and other software enablers that we have in this part of the world. But as you rightly said, the semicon space, the infra foundational models that we are talking about, we getting there and we being able to essentially be a like a major force to reckon in that space would be substantially interesting, and I'm sure we all would hope to see 2030 in that context. But wrapping up, Kapil, I've got one last question to kind of sum this up on that very same topic. Imagine that, Kapil, you and I are going to do this very same session in the summer of 2030, right? What do you think would be the most surprising stuff that we would have done essentially around the in the future of work by 2030?
First thing, probably I won't be late because my driver was late. We will be driving autonomous car. Okay, I just hope so. Okay. Second thing, maybe we won't require to travel also. Like if we can do it in very different setup and different environment, that is also very much possible. Third, we will not be talking disruption. We will not be talking about job elimination. We will not be talking about India's opportunity. Hopefully, we'll be talking about how India can maintain its leadership in AI space. I always feel that India missed that manufacturing bus,
Right, right.
right? And we regret that. Uh, I think we should not miss the AI bus.
No, absolutely. Very well said, Kapil. Very well said. And I hope and pray that we do come here on autonomous vehicles for sure, powered by India's sovereign AI, built by Indian engineers here in Bangalore or maybe elsewhere in India. And I would look forward to having this very same conversation about some of what we achieved in the last 5 years and what do we look forward for the next 5 years. Kapil, a pleasure absolutely to always talk to you, and thank you so much for joining us today on the Rise podcast series. Thank you so much, Kapil.
Thanks a lot.